This is Radio Chatskill. I'm Tim Bruno. Hudson Valley Restaurant Week starts Monday and runs for 2 weeks. Over 140 restaurants will offer prix-fixe lunches and dinners, and this year, 17 restaurants in the Catskills are participating, including the Blue Fox Motel in Narrowsburg, New York. Erin Shearer spoke to the owners George Neves and Meg Sullivan for her segment, Eating Upstate.
Tell me a little bit about yourselves, your background, and how you found your way to the Catskills.
So George has been in the restaurant business, hospitality space his entire career. So that's something he's done forever and had several restaurants in the city and then also over in Dumbo in Brooklyn. And then he started coming up here for get away from the city. Over 20 years ago, 25 years ago, George?
Actually, it's a sad memory, but I remember exactly. I bought my lake house up here on New York Lake, which is one of the original ones that was done
in Berryville,
in 1938. Yeah. And I bought it in late 2000. And we needed to do, a bathroom, running water, electricity, and things like that. And by the time we were done, it was the week before September 11th. So I remember very well the first time I used my bathroom, it was the weekend after September 11th. So I've been up here. I've been up here for a while.
This is not new for you. You guys have been here for many, many years.
Yeah. As we mostly weekenders, or vacation time or things like that. Initially, and then we bought the motel property, 16, I think. Yeah, 2016, and it needed a lot of renovation, so we renovated for a little over 3 years. We opened the restaurant sort of the end of 2019 briefly, and then COVID hit and it shut us down. And then we reopened in the summer of 2020. And at the same time, the motel was getting open in 2020 as well. So we sort of used 2020 as the true launch because it was such a kind of random situation.
What were some of the challenges you had launching both the restaurant and the hotel in the midst of COVID?
No guests, no image, no traveling.
Yeah.
I guess all the challenges that every single restaurateur and hotelier has. You couldn't travel, you couldn't move. You had to shut down the restaurant.
Initially we shut the restaurant for 4 months, about 4 months. Because the only thing you could do at the time was takeout, and we were brand new. So that was such a kind of takeout in rural Narrowsburg didn't make a whole lot of sense when we were brand new. So we waited. We had to build an entire patio space outside the front of the restaurant so that we could reopen and open outside. So
because that's the only thing.
That was the only thing you were allowed.
Late June, early July, I believe.
Yeah, we got it back open late July, early August in 2020.
Actually, the inside, I don't think we opened it before like September.
You couldn't at the time.
You couldn't.
Yeah, everybody had to be outside at that stage, so everything was outside, and then we had to follow all the regulations related to what the government was issuing at the time. Everything had to be spaced. Everybody was masked, certain sanitary issues, the bathrooms were in the inside of the building. So how you manage people spacing themselves out to use the restroom. I mean, just all of that kind of, which everybody was up against. That wasn't unique to us, but, it was kind of a crazy time. The upside was, at that same time, lots of city dwellers were trying to spend all of their time up here, away from the city, because that was such a crazy situation. City was such a difficult place to be during COVID, and people were looking for a way to get fresh air and be safe. And so you had sort of a surge of people moving up and interested in the area in a way that hadn't existed pre-COVID. So there was an upside as well as the down, for all the chaos of there was an upside, which was it brought more people to the area because it was accessible. People could drive up in their own car and not take public transportation, partly because public transportation doesn't come directly to where we are. So that works great, and when they found the area, I think people really liked it because it was, beautiful, sparsely populated. It felt safe, which I think was a big sentiment for most people at the time,
It's my understanding that the Blue Fox itself first operated as a hunting and camping lodge in the 1940s. And then around 1955, it, was converted into a more conventional motel, and it operated that way for the next half century. And then it was bought by Russians for a little bit. And by the time that you guys had bought it, it had been in foreclosure. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
That's that. Yep.
So, this property started in late 30s by a Long Island state trooper, which is a motorcycle state trooper. We happened lost a leg in an accident. His name was Nick Dale. And apparently was quite a character. So we started where we are right now. He was called the 10 Mile River Colony. And this was in as you said, early 40s, late 30s, 36, 38. And then in the 50s, he sold to Rick Lander's dad, to the Lander's family from the canoe outfitters. And Rick's dad, he was the one who, they built the house and the restaurant and the pool. We actually have a pool made out of a 1/4-inch steel, which is pretty incredible. So they took over on the 1950s and they created what is kind of the current version of the Blue Fox Motel. And then they sold it to a group of investors, Russian, somehow in the early 2000s, and unfortunately did not work out as it was planned, and they lost it to the bank. And by the time we got it in 2016, it's been in the possession of the bank for about 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the property was pretty much a couple of years away from being demolished because it was severely destroyed. Foundations, pool, roofs, it was destroyed. So we got it. And, we thought it was going to take us, a year and a half to do it. And, 3 years later, 3 years later, we opened it and, we're still working on it. These all properties, they have a mind of their own and, refurbishing and repurposing things. It's much harder than building stuff from the ground up.
Tell us a little bit about Hudson Valley Restaurant Week and its mission.
It's been a whole big push by the Sullivan County Visitors Association that all the businesses kind of get together in the hospitality space and work together to attract folks up to the area in general. And so there's been a big push in having us all get involved and participate. They've done a great job of connecting all of us to get involved in supporting an effort like this. The area is still in development, where we are in comparison to more of the right on the Hudson, or the Hudson Valley that's been, up and running for, 15 years now, probably, in terms of driving a lot of traffic. Yeah. This area is really new. So we're sort of new participants to the whole area. We're excited about that. So the area, all the local businesses, and in this instance, obviously it's restaurants. We've tried to step up and participate so that we all are collectively building the brand of the area, in terms of being a place, a destination people want to visit and they want to come and eat great food, we have a great experience.
we are great supporters for anything that anybody can do to promote the area. Because if you are in just going further south than us, I'm not even talking Manhattan. There's all kinds of people promoting different types of foods, different types of wines, different types of liquor. Up here, that enormous machine, which is individually done, does not exist. So anybody who comes up with with a program, an incentive to promote the area, the restaurants, the food, the wines, the tourism, all that, we are great fans of it, because there is very little done of that. So the restaurant week, I think, is great for absolutely everybody, because it does expose all of us, and he exposes the area itself, because the area itself, it's very under image-wise developed. And the Tourism Association, they're phenomenal, and we are great supporters of them, and we're glad to be part of it.
What are your plans for the future in regards to the Blue Fox?
We just we need to keep on trying to improve. It's an ongoing. Really, there is a lot of work to be done. We also purchased a couple of other properties next to us that were severely dilapidated. So, and because we have this need for housing, basically when we do large events, for example, weddings, I mean, we only have limited number of rooms, suites, cabins, and a house. So when we do weddings, it's there is a need for it, and people come to us and goes, where can we stay? Yeah. So we're big supporters of everybody else all around us. We cannot possibly accommodate all the requests that we have. And we'll just keep on working on the brand and the restaurant and finishing up the whole thing.
Yeah, I think some of the big things that the big way to sort of, I don't know, categorize it is about creating some more unique experiences for people when they come to us. So first of all, we have a beautiful pool space. And so in the summertime, we've started to do some great events and great collaborations with other brands doing events and stuff there in the space. And it's a place people want to be. They want to hang out. It's a really terrific
our pool parties. If you've never been to one, you should try to come to
It's one. Really, yeah. The property also, we've done a lot of work about creating, so it can be a wedding venue. It's not our full-time gig. We have a lot of other things that we're doing, but we did six weddings last year. And it lends itself to helping people understand that there's cool opportunities on the property to do all kinds of things. We did a couple corporate retreats, last year too. It was the first year you could really do any events of any sort with any numbers of people. And the nice part about the property is that you, if you take it over, depending on your numbers, it becomes your playground to do all kinds of interesting things. So depending on who's coming up and what they're doing. So the weddings loved it because it was theirs, for the weekend.
And the corporate retreat.
And same kind of thing with some of these corporate retreats.
And family reunions and gatherings, anniversaries. It's really a nice setup.
I kind of refer to it more as these kind of, fun, unique experiences that people can have, when they're up with us, because we offer both the accommodations plus the food, and we're in a beautiful area. So there's all these great activities to do in town, go hiking, get on the river right here in the Delaware. And so it's just, there's a lot of stuff in the area that lends itself to having a really terrific, community, experience.
That's Erin Shearer speaking to the owners of the Blue Fox Motel. about Hudson Valley Restaurant Week, which starts Monday. It's presented by Valley Table Magazine, and there's a full list of participating restaurants at valleytable.com. And more information about the Blue Fox at bluefoxmotel.com. We'll take a short break. This is Radio Chatskill.